Hey guys, welcome back to the Real Southern Garden. I am Sarah, and today we're talking about 2025 and the projects that we have in store on our property for 2025. Some may bleed into 2026, I'm sure some will. I always have tons of things that I want to do. We usually pick 2 big outdoor projects and then 1 inside where we're renovating something and just getting it, the way we want it to be. We bought this property almost 3 years ago in March, and there's always something to do, and we're loving every little step along the way, but lots of work and lots of fun. Aside from that, we're also going to be doing lots of garden tours this year. You'll see my garden, of course, but I'm going to take you to more historic gardens. We did some of those in the fall. We're going to do lots of private gardens around the area, some botanical gardens, just all kinds of fun stuff, because that's where I get my inspiration. I love it. I like my kids to be around it. I just think it's a good balance in this crazy, busy, technologically focused world that we all live in. So really important to me, and I want to bring some of that to you. But today, let's go look around this property and I'll show you what projects I've got in mind for 2025. Let's go. Okay, so one of this flower bed right here, it's going to be my azalea bed, and it is on, if you're looking at our house, it's on the left side of our property in the front yard, and it's kind of like our last really wild area. I don't like to do complete long shots of our house where the entire house is in it for obvious reasons, because we try to keep some things private, right? We don't want everyone knowing, hey, that's where they live. Not like you guys are, you know what I mean. Anyway, but so this is the side of our house over here, and this is where this last kind of wild area is. I think the previous owners just put a lot of sticks over here and some of the wood that would fall out of these trees. You can see there's some built up stacks that we need to remove, but I do have some daffodils that are planted up here in the front. Probably gonna wait for those to sprout this year and then relocate them. And then I'm gonna do the cardboard method, I believe, in this bed, and just cover it and mulch it to kind of smother out all these weeds. There's a ton of poison ivy that pops up back here. Don't worry, my husband and I are pretty much pros with working with that at this point. But I want to just layer all kinds of azaleas and rhododendron back here and just make it really cool and beautiful. One of the properties that we lived at in the past, it was we leased it. We were trying to figure out where we wanted to live in this area, and they had these beautiful 40-year plus rhododendrons and azaleas that would just bloom, oh my goodness, in the beginning of spring. And I really, really want to do that on this property. And nothing screams Southern Garden like azaleas. Like, you got to have them, it's you just have to. They're beautiful. We have a couple that were left here on this property, but not very many. I don't know if most of them died or what the case was, but I was surprised to see that we didn't have a lot of them on this property, that were already planted. So I'm not sure if I'm going to take it back about 5 feet yet and leave the center kind of wild, or if I'm going to try to tame this whole little area. Jury is still out on that, but this is one of my goals for 2025. And it's going to take some time and some work, but it should be a fun little transformation for you guys to see. And then we're going to head on up to the big garden up here, and I'm going to show you one of our goals and projects that we have up there. Now, I do have some apple trees while we're going by this area. Some apple trees. This is our little apple tree orchard, and I really got to up my game on getting those guys healthy this year so they can eventually have apples. We need to fertilize them. There is an old peach tree, right there, that we need to get that stump out. That guy wasn't producing anymore, so he had to go. But apple orchard definitely needs a little bit of help, and we're going to be working on that too. And one thing about fruit trees is everything wants to eat them. We're lucky that we have we used to have 15, and we probably have 12 now. 12 old peach trees that still produce for us every year. And they're awesome. The only thing is they did plant them over our driveway. So our driveway turns into like a peach smoothie every July. It is what it is, but you gotta take the good with the bad. We're lucky to have the peaches. There's one of our peach trees there that does really well. So up here in our big garden, we are still cleaning this up. I need to tarp it. We want to tarp it, cover it up, and get all the weeds at ground zero so we can start the new season out fresh. But over here, we're going to have our in-ground sweet potato bed this year. The last couple of years we did grow bags, but I do think in-ground is going to be, just give us a better yield. And we have a ton of watermelons that are still up here that we just could not eat them all. These actually were hybrid watermelons that came up on their own. I had planted 2 varieties up here in the years past, and they somehow created their own variety. They had quite a few seeds in them, but they weren't bad. They were pretty, if there is a such thing, drought tolerant. They didn't need as much water as the other ones I've had, so that was a good thing. But we're going to compost all those. But those stock tanks that you see back there, those are going to be moved up here, and we're going to put down landscape fabric only because I'm going to put gravel over it and place those stock tanks on top. I would never use landscape fabric anywhere where I was growing something in the ground. It just is not a long-term solution because things will grow on top of it. We're going to have to do it here because we want to put gravel down. It's impossible to mow around those if we didn't do it. So anyway, but I don't use landscape fabric at all anywhere else in my flower beds. It will just be here for this walkway, pathway type thing. And then up here on the border, all the way around the fence line, we grow all of our zinnias, and we also grow them on those first 2 rows over there. We're going to also expand this out 1 row because up against the fence line is where my dogs run back and forth to play with the neighbor dogs. And it's kind of like the dog freeway. So they trample whatever I plant. So we're going to just leave that an open little route for them and kick out this big garden a little bit more. We definitely want to plant winter squash this summer. We missed it last summer because I was pregnant and we were busy and we only planted a few things. But winter squash and sweet potatoes are my favorite things to grow because they keep forever. If you watch any of the prepping channels or homesteaders, they will tell you those are some of the best things to grow, and I can vouch for it. The only trick is, if you live in the deep south like I do, if you just plant your pumpkins or any kind of squash, if you plant them July 4th, July 5th, you're going to clear the time where the squash borers are out. They've completed their life cycle by then, and you can plant them and have no problem. But if you do it earlier in the season, you could run into some big trouble with squash borers. I hate those guys, and I don't want to mess with it. So plant July 4th or 5th. You'll have plenty of time for the growing season. This spring, we also want to put up a deer fence around here, but we want it to be pretty, and that's probably going to be a 2026 project, probably not this year. Last year we did 2 fencing projects, but they were for our dogs, so our dogs could have a separate little dog yard. This fencing, of course, is nothing for our dogs, and they don't care about it. They'll just jump it. So we had to do some little dog areas, but definitely want to get this garden fenced. So this was what I'm talking about. We did this fencing last year for our dogs, and we have a little one around the house too, where they sleep at night, and that was where our fence budget went for last year, but we definitely want to get the garden done eventually. So this area up here, I've got one on the front side of the house as well, and then back here, these little terrace beds, we have to replace this landscape timber the previous owners had, and we want to go back with, we think, block or something like block that looks like stone and make these awesome. And that's why I haven't planted anything back here. You've seen this in other videos. I've talked about it. I just did some Green Mountain boxwoods and some little containers that I could easily move. And that way I don't lose any plants or have to deal with moving a bunch of stuff when we do have this fixed. In the front flower bed, I had planted some camellias, but they should be able to work around those without squishing them. Let's hope. But that's what, this is another project. We also do have some brick work on this pathway, some pointing that we need to do, and that is something else that I'm hoping to get done in 2025. All right, so let's say hello to the dogs. There's Peaches and Onyx. Onyx boy, come on. He's hiding. He's camera shy. Let me take you guys back to our little potting shed. This is definitely a work in progress. In fact, it's a work in progress that has had no progress. And this may be a 2026 project. It probably won't happen in 2025, but you never know. It needs a lot of work. I love it for what it could be. It's not there yet. And we will probably use this as a potting shed and also as a little greenhouse. Not greenhouse, I'm sorry, tool shed. But it needs a new floor. The windows are still good. It needs a new roof. The flooring is just gravel, but the previous owners, I don't know if they dumped something in it or what the deal is, but it's kind of gross in there. The glass is still good, but needs a new roof. We're gonna paint it. We're gonna fix the door, obviously. And we haven't done a lot. The door is torn up. It was like this when we moved in, and we just have not been able to get to it yet. The inside, the floor is kind of weird. I don't know if they dumped oil in here or what, but the walls are stable. We just got to get this roof done and also put a skylight in so that it is a better place, you know, just brighter. So it'll be a nice little building. It'll be a great transformation when we can get this done. It just hasn't been a priority yet. As I said, we have lots of things that we've been working on, but it will be nice to have this for our tools up on this upper level. All right, let's head back here. Let me show you one other project that we have on tap for 2025. We think, anyway. All of my friends are always like, you have property, you need more animals. And we're like, well, we have chickens and we have kids, and we have dogs. I think we're gonna add one more thing to the property. We're gonna be sharing it with our neighbor. He likes the idea too. He's got a bunch of little kids also. And we are going to put up a shared gate. Let's say hi to the chickens first. Hey guys. They're like, hello, what are you doing? Back here we have this little fenced in area. We're gonna have to add a little bit of fencing, but we're gonna make a gate that connects to his property, and we're gonna get, we think, 2 mini donkeys. They are so cute. They're also gonna protect these chickens from coyotes and fox and that kind of thing, because the donkeys hate all those animals and vice versa. And put them back here. Now, granted, mini donkeys may be a little different than regular size, but the ones I've seen are still a decent size, and they still don't like coyotes, and the coyotes are still afraid of them. But we're gonna put up that little gate, and he'll be able to go from this pasture to over there, and we'll probably have 2, like I said. So that should be a really fun project for this year. I think the kids will love it. That's one of our little places where we keep our mowers and that kind of thing, a little storage barn type structure that we have back there. We're lucky we have a lot of those on this property. All right, guys, if you liked this video, if you'll please hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. We will see you right back here next time at the Real Southern Garden. Bye.